Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Armored Warfare. This is Tanks for the Mammeries, and today we're going to have two replays. One is going to be here in the Warrior on Prometheus, and the other is going to be in the T-14 Armata. And I wanted to show you these because I'm working my way up the line, and I really am liking the Warrior a lot. Now, I don't want to get into too much about the different stats on the Warrior, things like that. It is what it is. I will say, though, that during the course of this battle, I'm going to point out a few of the things about the Warrior that I noticed. So, here we are on Prometheus, which is basically the island map that comes out of PvP, which they've made recently into a PvE mission map in the latest patch, .15. So, we're doing the countdown now, and I'm going to do what basically I think all of the armored fighting vehicles should do in PvE missions, which is to go through and take care of the secondaries wherever possible, and also hunt down the artillery. Now, what it doesn't allow you to do is get typically the top score in the game at the end, but you are going to do a tremendous amount of things for your team. And if you can get rid of the artillery, as you get down to the final stage of this particular mission, as well as most of the missions, where you're in higher tiers and there is enemy artillery from the AI, you are going to save your players. Now, this is really cool because they've got the Chinooks that start to take off as you approach. And that was the first of the secondaries there. I'm going to come up to another Chinook over here, around the corner, and he's starting to take off as well. Put a shot into him. And the rest of my team is going forward with the primary mission of defending the loader. Now, this map, like Albatross, has got a number of different objectives that come along as you're in the middle of playing. And if you don't get any of the objectives early on in the game, like the first one, if you miss the first one, the game is over, man. You're out of luck. So you've really got to push hard and make sure on this map as well as Albatross that you actually capture the initial mission requirements, because if you don't and you just go ahead and try and defend and then either don't cap it out or you leave before the time is up, you can get screwed and lose the mission. So that's secondary number 3 right there. Be coming around to secondary number 4, and also I'm going to spot some enemy artillery up here in a second, which is pretty cool because you end up being able to kill that fucker who's going to start smacking your team. So there's the last of the secondary objectives, destroying the helicopters, and now it's time for me to start hunting the artillery. So here we go. Here's the first one, which is a Palmaria. Now I'm out of ammo, so let's talk about that for a second with the Warrior. The Warrior has got, in real life, it's got a chain gun similar to the Bradley, and it actually carries more than 5 fucking rounds, whereas in the game here, it has basically just, I don't know, 5 or 6 rounds, whatever it is, which is enough to do significant damage if you hit an enemy vehicle in the right spot. But the fact of the matter is, this is not a vehicle that's going to be able to take a full health tank down to nothing. So I'm getting shot at by that little weasel. It's got actually decent armor. I will say that about this vehicle. I have both the the fence armor, whatever the fuck that stuff's called. The anti-heat and HE armor, as well as the applique armor. So, you know, this thing can actually take some hits, but it's pretty decently fast. I'm trying to do a drive-by on that guy, but you're only going to get, whoa, push. I did not lose a track. You're only going to get 500 to 600 damage in this vehicle when you take on an enemy, unless you can get him right in the engine box from the rear. You know, so it's not one of those where you're going to want to go up against a full health main battle tank by yourself or in the open. So just be aware of that. And the penetration, even with the top gun on this vehicle, is not the greatest. So again, hunting for artillery, found another one. Going to come up and put some into him. So that's 1,000 damage to him. Obviously, he's got pretty thin armor. Now, the reloading is decent. The reload speed on this is actually pretty good. But again, do not think that you're going to be able to get to the side of an enemy tank and take him out with one clip, because it's just not going to happen, and you're going to left getting smoked pretty hard if you're not careful. So now I'm coming up to the generator. I'm going to do some damage on a couple of these different guys here. Right in the ass. Get that one in the ass. There goes the weasel. Now that Challenger wants to take me on, but he's got more trouble than just me, so I'm going to try and give him a little bit here in the end. But I'm capping out this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, should I just sit here and cap it out? Should I try and sneak around and shoot him in the ass? I get a little greedy and go to sneak around here to shoot him in the ass, and of course when I do that, it stops the fucking cap, because I'm not the most brilliant guy in the game. But now I've realized what I've done, so it's time to just go ahead and cap it out. Now, I believe he's tracked. I can start shooting him in the butt. Well, there we go. So, again, if you hit him in the ass through the unprotected engine compartment, you can do some serious damage to him. So that was about 1,000 there, but typically you're going to get 500 to 600 if you're hitting these guys in the side or something like that. So, all right, now we finished capping that out, and it's time to move on. Now, here's the issue with this. These guys start spawning pretty much all over the place, and at the end of this match on Prometheus, it's pretty much just being swamped by bad guys. And they, you know, if you try to get to spots where you can just sit back and shoot them as they try to enter the cap zone, you're going to find guys spawning all over you, which is really smart, I think, from wargaming's, from Armored Warfare's perspective, to try to put spawns in places where you'll be sitting there trying to see. I'm just trying to stay behind this guy to shoot him in the engine compartment. They're putting spawns in places where you're trying to hide, so that you can't just sit somewhere and snipe the cap out. So we're almost finished with this, and pretty soon it's going to be time to move down to the next objective. Also, just so you know, this gun has got pretty bad penetration when it comes to the fronts of armored vehicles and to normalizing on the sides of armored vehicles at angles. And see, here's a guy that spawned right behind me. Right fucking behind me. And I'm just about to figure it out. Right about now. Oh my god. Whoops. I deserve a smack for that. I really do. That he didn't do it is amazing. He should have killed me. Or he should have really hurt me pretty bad. I was totally zoomed in. So look at all the damage to that Ramka right there. He's got all kinds of acne. Right, so now we're defending the last point. And it just becomes, can you run the clock down? Because I have yet to play this map where I have managed, or my team has managed to kill every single enemy in the cap zone. And so you're going to start seeing, so this is where I would have sat up here so I could just shoot down into the cap. And instead, look what spawns right there. So if anybody thinks they're going to get on that hill and just start to, snipe in and out, and if you stay here and you try to get back up on the ledge, he can shoot up at you. So that's not really going to work. So I'm going to try and move down here. He hits the dirt. So now's a chance for me to try and take him out. I miss him. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, it's just a Stingray. I can go get him, right? He gives me a good whack. But again, it's at this point that we're just trying to just run the clock out. And it says 11 minutes, 17 seconds. That's not actually what it is. Artillery's doing a good job keeping Cap defended. Look at that. Good job, artillery. So now there's still bad guys out here, and there's going to be some more showing up, like this guy. Now, I have the speed to try and get around him. The Ramka took him out. And so we ran the timeout. We didn't manage to kill everybody. We just ran the timeout. So anyway, the Warrior, really like it. It's decently fast. It's decently maneuverable. It's certainly agile. The gun is good for flanking and hitting in the rear. It doesn't have a lot of ammo with it, so, you know, don't be prepared to start just sitting there and just taking shots all day long. You will have to reload very, very quickly. As a matter of fact, it's disconcertingly fast. I wish it had, like, maybe 15 rounds in the box, even if it meant that each round did less damage. I would still prefer to have that. But I really did enjoy... Oh, by the way, this is a glitch. This thing keeps popping up after every match. It's my clan chat box. And with patch 15, this is one of the glitches that came along, and Armored Warfare is aware of it, and they are trying to fix that. So it shows up no matter what. Anyway, so the Warrior. Let's go back to the Warrior. I think this is a very cool-looking vehicle. Just, you know, very utilitarian, very sort of brutal, with all the crap sticking off it everywhere. I only have one upgrade for it right now, which is the air induction pre-cleaner, and I did that to give additional acceleration and hull traverse speed. I will be adding, obviously, another retrofit there when I get more cash and credit and reputation. But it's just a brutal-looking machine. So I opted for starting with the gun, and then the cage armor, and then the applique armor to give it as much protection as possible. I have managed to upgrade to the top gun and the top ammunition. So all in all, decently fast, decently maneuverable. The gun lacks major punch, but again, it's an armored fighting vehicle. The clip size is fucking tiny. And other than that, it's pretty good. It's got a low profile, so definitely worth working your way up to as a end of the match cleanup hitter. And again, looks pretty fucking cool. So that is the fight with that one. So let's move on to the Armata, the T-14 Armata, and a fight that we had in this vehicle. I put up a video the other day starting with the Tier 10s, and this was the first Tier 10 that I got. I probably... Knowing as I know now, I probably would have done something different, but I did get it, and I have managed to get the top gun on this vehicle. So it's got the 152 millimeter cannon on it, and I have upgraded the ammunition to the armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding Sabo 152 millimeter round. I have the HE frag round. I've got the Coronet ATGM, and I have the thermobaric and a tank-guided missile as well. So those are all there. The retrofits I've gone completely with are the magnetic actuator Mark 1, which increases damage and aim time. I've fixed the ammo rack to give me some additional hull and ammo rack hit points. I went with a gyroscopic stabilizer for rate of fire to speed that up a bit and to reduce my aim time. And I've gone with the pre-cleaner to give me some acceleration and hull traverse speed. And the reason I did that for hull traverse speed is because the T-14 does not have the best side armor in the world, but it's got a very, very good front armor profile. And, you know, obviously the first thing you want to do when you have the opportunity is get the 152 millimeter gun. So when you get this tank, that is what you should be striving for, is getting the biggest gun possible, because the Russian tanks have got great alpha. This thing can shave off 1,000 hit points basically per shot on enemy vehicles, so both in PvE and PvP missions, this is the gun that you want. So let's take a look at a mission I had in this on Albatross. And again, one of the other new maps that's come into the game, it was in at patch 14. It's the snowy version of the airfield map, and I am the only tier 10 in a match with a bunch of tier 8s. And these guys, you know, give it to them. They stuck it out, although in the end, I believe we actually lost this fight, if I remember correctly. The mobile gun system just didn't come through in the end. But you can see from the gameplay that this is actually an extremely devastating gun. And this is one of my favorite maps in the game. I like Prometheus as well, I really do. But this is one of my favorite maps in the game. And I'll explain why. Because you've seen me play this a couple of other times on some previous videos. And if you haven't, go back and check those out. But this, I also did an interview with the designer of this map, as well as one of the atmospheric artists. So I've got a little, I got a couple of friends who had some fingers in the pie on this, and so I kind of like this map also because of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's a beautiful map, and I really like how they change up the requirements each time, both in what the requirements are for secondary missions, as well as where the locations are. And so watch this right here. I'm gonna put my front to him. There's 1,000 damage right there. Boom. So that shaved almost a third, a little more than a third of his life off. And he got killed right before I shot at him, so that was the end of that. Unfortunately, I'm going to take this guy out, I think. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to waste the shot, but I had to. So there is enemy artillery on this battle, on this map, and let the AIs be dumb. Going to try and keep my tank behind the rock. Now watch this. Almost 900. So that was artillery that took a shot at me just then. It wasn't this Challenger. But that's okay. I'll take 1,000 off his health. Thank you very much for that. And so these tier 8s are having to fight pretty serious vehicles in this battle. Now, I'm probably not the guy that should be climbing up here, but I figured if I got up here, I could get pretty decent vision on what was coming in the battle. And with such a big gun, even over long distance, the punch is still significant. So while the accuracy on this thing is not the best in the world, if you do hit something, it's going to rip arms and legs off. So, that's what you want. Right, so here we are trying to cap out this radio station, which is cool because it's now in a different location than I've seen it on the other couple of times that I've played this map. And then we're going to get the Challenger and the M1A2 down below us here. So my thought was I would be able to get some shots in. There we go, capped it out. At a downward angle on these guys through their top armor. And that's what I was hoping to do here. Didn't quite work at that angle there. So watch this. I'm going to bounce a shot. And this gun can be kind of troll. Totally bounced it. Right down on the top of his tank, and it did not go through. And that is some serious shit right there. But there we go. We'll take 1,000 for that one. And we'll take that guy out for 1,000 as well. Now it's time to get down. I'm not a huge... This tank is so gigantic. It is such a big vehicle. I don't think I have the top engine for this yet, but it's reasonably fast, certainly. And I wish you could blow those up as opposed to just running into them. It's irritating you can't just shoot them. And it doesn't take the whole thing out. So, I'm going to waste some time running into them. I got to tell you, I love the atmospherics on this. I love the fact that these buildings do look like every single building you'll ever see in former Soviet Union countries like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that. I really love this. Now I'm feeling like we didn't finish wiping that thing out, so take the truck out just for good measure. But we apparently did take it out completely, so I just wasted that shot. Whatever. But I love the Hesco Bastion, which I spent a lot of time living around for a while. I love the T-walls. I love the fact that these guys have got all these just horrible precast concrete Russian buildings everywhere. Old Soviet-style stuff. I mean, this just truly reminds me of K2 and other places in Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, Pakistan. It's perfect. They really did a good job on creating the environment. I wish they do more U.S. stuff for whenever they put the missions in the U.S., the cities and things like that would be more American, but, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to try and sneak past these guys. They hit the Hesco and miss me. Come around the back. And I tell you right now, a tank would not go through Hesco like that in real life, but whatever. Because basically Hesco bags are just filled with dirt or rock, and they stack like that, and they're flipping huge. Oh, interestingly, a buddy of mine who used to work for Hesco, Charlie Martell, and I'll put a link on Facebook to Charlie. Charlie is rowing solo across the Pacific Ocean right now. He's a former British military guy, and he has a fundraising thing that he's doing, and he's for some charity, I think. Anyway, Charlie's a professional rower, and he is rowing his boat solo by himself across the Pacific Ocean as we speak. So good luck, Charlie. And only got 987 side shot on that, probably the angle. And I'm going to have some bouncing here on this fucking guy at this point. There's one of these tanks that just will not fucking die, and I think it's this one. I keep trying to ram the last 35 hit points out of him. It's not really working. Yep, bounce one. Now, if this T-90 wants to sit there and just keep getting... Look at that, only 16 damage to me. T-90 refreshed himself. I just cannot kill that fucking guy. And I actually aimed for his driver's hatch. So I'm starting to get pissed off. Anyway, the T-90 kills him. And it is time to... Now, this is the problem here. So I'm stuck fucking with all these guys, me and this T-90. While the M1128 mobile gun system, as you can see, is up there in F2. And he should have Overwatch right now on the cap. So we're starting to get capped out. And we're still fucking around with these guys. We need to go ahead and kill them off. And it's at this point that I'm like, shit, I got to get back down to cap. But I don't want that Thunderbolt to be able to put shots into me as I move back down here to try and defend the cap. But yeah, so I don't understand why the mobile gun system is not doing more to stop cap. I don't know if you can't see or what, but we're about to go ahead and lose. So I take a shot at this guy, and that's great and all, but at the angle, I just miss. So we're going to lose this fight. Anyway, you can see, though, from this that aside from some, really troll shots with the gun, this tank with this 152 millimeter main gun is just a monster. And, should I have been paying more attention to the map? Yeah. But I thought that the mobile gun system actually had Overwatch on the cap and was going to be able to do some sniping to keep the cap points down. Didn't work out that way. We ended up losing this fight. But I hope you enjoy this, guys. That was 2 battles, one in the Warrior and one in the T-14 Armata. T-14 Armata is the Tier 10 main battle tank. It's one of the new tanks from the Russian military, which has just sort of been unveiled in the last year or so. and I'm using it with the 152 millimeter gun. For the Warrior, this is the British armored fighting vehicle currently in service. Excellent vehicle, and I have the uprated gun on that as well, which is the 30 millimeter cannon, but it only has 6 shots. So again, you know, you got to really be careful with what you're shooting there, and always be pressing the C key to reload. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching these 2 replays today. I will have some more. I'm going to do a replay on the PLO-1, which is the new Polish light tank, and I'll also do a replay with the Leopard 2A7 with the 140 millimeter gun. So stick around for those, but thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, this is Tanks for the Mammeries. I am playing Armored Warfare. I do appreciate you guys watching these videos. I hope you enjoyed them both, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day.